Yay, you guys. I am so excited to be here with my dear friend, Chrissa Benson. Chrissa, you are such a gift. Thank you so much for coming on to this call. We are just going to be learning so much about you. So I just first want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course,
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, Chrissa and I met sometime in the past year, and I don't know how I didn't know about you before because she has a serious movement happening in her tribe. She is helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people gain health, feel better, and her whole philosophy is around how to make it simple, how to make it easy. She is a mom of two adorable young boys, and her husband has been serving overseas for quite some time. So you're not a single mom, but you kind of are a single mom a lot of the time, in like presently in your physical body, right?
it feels that way.
Yeah, right. And your husband just came home, so we're totally celebrating, so excited for that. You've got a bit more support, but I always think, like, if someone can do this alone, if they can take care of themselves, they can take care of their kids, they can show up and own a business, run a business. Like, we're all busy. We all have careers, businesses, like so many things to do. The to-do list goes on. And you do it, and you do it with so much grace, and you do it with so much authenticity, and you do it like in a way that truly supports you and your family, which I am so inspired by, and so are all the many thousands of people you help. So this is a gift. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
And by the way, I should mention that Chris is the name of her, like, business doesn't even sound right. The name of her movement is Physical Kitcheness. And so I'll be sharing all that information with you. And we have a really special surprise that you guys are getting from Chrissa to help all of you continue down this path of taking care of yourself, specifically in the world of eating, although I know we're going to be talking about probably a little bit of exercise and overall self-care today too, because Chrissa has amazing videos, like quick, super fun videos on how to exercise in the house without using a bunch of equipment, like how to make it fun. I remember one of your videos I saw was called like the Lazy Girls something, and I was like, that's so awesome. Like, Chrissa is real, y'all. And also super toned and buff and healthy at the same time. So Chris is going to give us the inside scoop, but today we are here very specifically. I wanted to talk to Chrissa about how do you eat well? How do you stay healthy when you're on the go, right? So this can be traveling. This can just be on the go with two little kids running, like, okay, we got to drop them here, go to soccer practice here, do this, take care of myself, like meet clients or whatever it is. We're always on the go, right? So let's just start off, Chrissa. Actually, I want to back up. Start off and first tell us what inspired you to do this. I don't think we've ever even talked about this, if there was some sort of story that inspired you.
Well, I started my business about 3.5 years ago. I had a little new baby at the time, and I've always been really interested in health and wellness, like throughout my entire life. But it was after I had my son that I experienced so many issues that so many new moms face. The anxiety stuff, my skin was nuts, my terrible psoriasis, and I decided to cut out gluten from my diet because I knew it was a common inflammatory thing. So I cut it out, kind of helped, not totally, ended up cutting out dairy, ended up being introduced into a more paleo-based lifestyle. From there, I just thrived. I mean, things in my life just went from surviving to thriving, really.
Sure.
And I became so passionate about eating this way, and especially as a new mom, I knew that I really wanted to give my family the best chance they could at health and wellness. And so I decided to it started out as a really food and fitness blog. And it just sort of took off from there because I really wanted to make this movement easy for people just like us, busy moms, career women, like that. If it's complicated, it's not sustainable. So that's really what started what I do, and it just created momentum. And now I feel blessed to do what I love every day.
That is so incredible. And I'm curious, when you said, like, all these things in your life started to take off. All these things. You weren't saying just my health. Like, tell us more about, I always say there's like this magical like wand that kind of like this wave effect that goes into all of our lives, like not into the outer spaces of our lives as well as the cells inside of us, right? So tell me some of the things that were what did you have any surprises? Like what are the things that started to take off?
For me, it was, I mean, obviously I felt better.
Yeah.
Started to clear up. All like the physical things
Yeah.
happened. But my husband, who is like Pop-Tarts and Oreos and McDonald's,
Yes.
that kind of guy, was actually making healthy choices, which I never thought that would happen. He was requesting, he'd never tried beets. He'd never tried like certain vegetables even, and he was loving them. And so being able to help my family transition into a better way of life just made me feel empowered. And I think that just generally knowing that I was making it a habit and a lifestyle, and it became easier and easier.
Yeah.
Now I can go in my kitchen, I can look at my fridge, throw together anything for dinner. I don't need a plan.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for now 4 years.
Yeah.
And eating this way, it's just really empowering. Or like you said, being on the go or traveling and knowing what to order on the menu, knowing what makes you feel great, like not feeling overwhelmed by all the information, because I've empowered myself to make these choices this long, it's really, really freeing.
That is incredible. I had chills when you were talking about your husband, like hopping on the clean eating train, making healthier choices. And what you guys, we all as parents especially strive to do the best for our kids. Like there's so many choices to make every day for our kids' education and friends and social and emotional and blah, blah, like it goes on and it's overwhelming. And so to feel, this just feels so grounding for me, right? To know that you're giving them health and giving them accessibility to not only a healthy body, but also a healthy mind, I think. Like I really find that when we eat this way, it impacts our mental and emotional well-being so much. Like for me, that was my pot of gold. That was like, yeah, all the physical symptoms, amazing. But to feel grounded and a sense of well-being and to feel joy where before it was like constant overwhelm, that is so incredible. And to be able to give that to our family, what a gift.
Absolutely. And even like seeing my kids have never really known any different. They're little, they're 2 and 4. And so starting them off that way and seeing now as my 4-year-old eats everything and wants sauerkraut and things that most 4-year-olds don't.
Amazing.
Just those little things. I'm like, I did something right.
Yes. Yes. High five.
It's hard being a parent, knowing like, okay, like eat well, and they still like will go to birthday parties and have something that isn't unhealthy. And I'm not crazy about it, but knowing that they always come back to like those foundations, it's a big win for a mom, and I'm really proud of that.
It's a huge win. It's a huge win. Sorry about that. My speaker, sometimes every single time it right around like 5 minutes in, it mutes it. It's like an automatic mute. I need to figure it out. What happened? Okay. So what would you say, and then we're going to get to more on the go, but I'm so inspired. You know that I'm really into helping kids and families as well. We have like this very common passion between us. And I'm really curious, what did you do? What do you find helps women or men, whoever's first initially adopting this way of healthy eating? What is the key to bringing your family on?
Oh gosh, I think there's so many different things. I think it depends on the stage that your family's in. For us, It was we had little kids, so they didn't really know any better. But for kids that are older, transitioning, it can be maybe more of a challenge. I think starting slow is key.
Yeah.
For me personally, I didn't like go, okay, I'm gonna eat nothing processed. I started out omitting gluten and then greens, and then so taking it one step at a time, giving your family choices. Sometimes even I hate to say this because I love my husband, but he can be, an 8-year-old in a 30-some-year-old body. So even giving like choices for dinner, like, hey, what would you like? Just helps. And then I just add the healthy components in it. And I think it's a gradual thing. When you have young children, I think right off the bat, just starting them off clean and don't derail from that. Even when they go through the picky stages, because my kids did, they were still like, this is what you're going to eat, and you don't
Yeah.
have choice
Yeah.
because they don't know
Totally.
any better. So
Totally.
I think some parents be like, well, my 18-month-old isn't eating, he's refusing everything. For me personally, it was like, these are the, he only ate sweet potatoes for like 6 months, and this was like, I kept introducing and introducing, and
Yeah.
eventually we got past it, but I didn't never like fall back to the,
You're like, okay, here's your bagel or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's no choice in that, and it paid off. So stay consistent, I think, is really important.
That's huge. And it is really interesting. If anyone is watching this who is pregnant or has little babies, I will say I knew nothing about inflammation or like health. I thought it was eating healthfully, but like paleo type anti-inflammatory eating. When I was pregnant with my son and when he was born, and I would give him like Annie's organic, whatever, granola bars or, things that I thought were healthy, but then it's like full of processed sugar and full of these organic junk food, really. And I couldn't figure out why he was so sick. And finally, around the age of 2, getting him to wean off of those, the sugar addiction had a hold of him, Chrissa, like really had a hold of him. And I still see it play out to this day when he's 9. He's really, really healthy, but sometimes like that sugar addiction, it just like kicks in, and it really takes a strong hold. Whereas my daughter, I was totally eating this way, like anti-inflammatory paleo through my pregnancy. She just only, like you said, she only had that choice. She only ate that way. And when she was 2.5, she was at her little preschool, her daycare, and they were handing out like cupcakes for a friend's birthday. And she told her teacher, she's like, oh, is there processed sugar in there? And they were like, yeah. She said, oh, it's okay. I don't eat processed sugar. Like she didn't have the chemicals in her body that causes that addiction from the processed sugar. And so it was no big deal. She didn't feel like she was missing out. It was just like, yeah. So it's so amazing seeing the two and how they move through this process differently. So if you are at a place and you're watching this and you are pregnant or you have young babies, like starting early is such a gift to you as a parent. It's easier and to your child.
Trick-or-treating, we still have Halloween candy right there because they don't even know. They don't even know there's stuff in it to eat, so they count it every day. They think it's fun. Put it back in the bucket.
I love it. You're like, math. We're doing math with this. That's so great. And then the other thing I'd like to add, right, is, and I'm sure you already did this, so you already kind of shared this without saying it directly, but when we show up to be the best versions of ourselves, like you adopted this way of eating, you were modeling it for your family, and then your husband's like, oh, maybe I'll try too. And your kid's like, oh, okay. We have to first show up for ourselves. And that's how we can inspire others. I always love Gandhi's quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I always say, be the change you wish to see in your family, right? Like empower yourself, do it for you first. And then it causes that ripple effect.
Yes, totally. I agree.
Yay. Okay. So we're going from the clean eating kid and let's talk a little bit about when we're on the go, right? So we've now talked about how do we kind of like, what are the things that we do to get our kids and our families on the same page. So now, let's just say we're a mom, we're running around, we've got soccer practice, we've got, juggling balance and practices and husband coming home later, whatever it may be. Like when we're on the go and just our day-to-day life, not necessarily traveling, because we'll talk about that in a minute. How do we make this a reality? How do we make this sustainable, like you said?
I think there's parts. So for me and what I teach people in my membership site is do the pantry clean out to like, let's start. Okay. Let's just do this for real. And for many people where they get caught up is, well, dinners are one, which I'll cover, but like the snacks and being on the go and all that stuff. So you have all this prepackaged food and it's convenient, but getting it out of the house and right away thinking of other alternatives. So when I'm on the go and we have things that are going on, I like to do like bento boxes where you have protein, which is either hard-boiled eggs or really squeaky clean deli meat or smoked salmon. We do healthy fats like nuts or avocados or olives, and then veggies. And you can eat raw veggies. You can roast veggies and eat them cold. I do that all the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like fresh out of the oven.
Yeah.
Throw veggies in there, and those are really the basis of a lot of our meals and a lot of our snacks. I think of snacks as more mini meals
Yeah.
than sugary. So many snacks, as you know, are just
Totally.
sugar
Yeah.
bombs.
Yeah.
So I guess thinking it always in the back of your head, like what is something that has protein, healthy fat, or vegetables, and fruit too. But
I
those
love
things
that.
when we're on the go is like what's the basis of my food pyramid that fuels our family?
Yes. Yes. And what is a bento box? I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's probably. I mean, there's it's a lunch box basically.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just call them our bento box.
Oh, okay.
So just throwing things in.
Cute. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the way you think of those snacks as many meals is exactly how I think about meals. I'm like protein, carb, like some fruit, some healthy meat, some healthy fat, like done.
Yeah, that's the most simplistic way. And it's like, it's, you can take those really simple ideas and make them grand too. So we do that all the time. I'll do protein, fat, vegetables. And then if I get bored with that, then I'll make certain sauces and I will even freeze them with that pesto or homemade marinara or salsa, or you can just throw on these like super easy condiments that reinvent the meals. Or I'll make a hash with like ground turkey or ground beef and throw in again those veggies and then top it with a healthy fat, maybe a compliant for me like ranch or the pesto. Or I mean, there's so many options, and once you start playing with that, the basis of those meals, that idea, the world is endless. You can come up with so many flavor combos.
And I know that some people right now are going to be listening and then they're like, ranch? What? Like pesto? Huh? So you all are going to be getting access to so many of Chris's amazing recipes. Do you know if the ranch or pesto, or where can they find those? Is it on your blog? Is it in the meal plan?
So the ranch I don't make myself because, I'm busy. I do Primal Kitchen.
Primal Kitchen's amazing.
Yes. And then pesto I do make myself. That I have a recipe on my blog for a pesto roasted potatoes. I have it in my Real Food Meal Revolution. So there's a couple of things. There's a couple of resources on my website, and then I have a couple in my meal planner as well.
So you guys, you'll get the meal plan. If you are listening here, you will definitely get the meal plan, but you also should go to Chrissa's blog because there's so many incredible recipes there. And it's just going to add to like your amazing Rolodex of healthy, quick, clean recipes.
Yes, lots of family friendly.
Yeah.
I love to do like full meals. There are some treats in there too, but my jam is like the dinners and stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so we're on the go, right? We have our bento box, our like protein, the veggies, some nuts, some healthy fats, easy to grab, easy to go. And then for people who are listening and are wondering about healthy, like you said, deli meats, some clean deli meats, which deli meats would you recommend? Because that's a quick way to grab stuff.
So many, I feel like 99% of deli meats are full of nitrates and sugars and stuff. Yeah. But if you live near Trader Joe's, there's a Trader Joe's organic roasted turkey.
Oh.
Amazing. It's very, very clean. And then Applegate has a ton of variety too. Yeah. A lot of them are paleo and Whole30 compliant if you're in the Whole30 thing. Which is really super clean. So those are the two brands that I always swear by.
And also, fun fact, Diesel. Do you know about Diesel turkey? No. Okay. This is, So I didn't know about the Trader Joe's. This is always so fun to talk to people who are like in the loop. Diesel turkey, they just recently took all their sugar. So they had all their preservatives and nitrates and everything already removed, but there was sugar in it and they took out all their sugar. So you can go find Diesel turkey. It's, I've called the company myself. All the feed is non-GMO, which you have to be careful of with poultry. So it's all non-GMO. And then they have organic option or non-organic option. But nothing else in it, no sugar. It's another way. And sometimes like Trader Joe's or our local like health food store has a in-house roasted Diesel turkey breast. Those are the best because there's less sodium for if you have a choice. But Diesel is another one. So 3 great options to get some clean, healthy, easy deli meat.
Absolutely.
So cool. Okay, so we're on the go. We're like, We covered like just the day to day, even if you don't have kids, right? Like I used to always pack my bento box, my lunch box, and I wouldn't just pack it for lunch. I would pack snacks in it for the whole day. Cause I like when I was teaching, I'm like, okay, I'm going to drop my kid off at school or like at preschool early. Then I'm going to go teach. Then after school, I have all these errands to run. I need to go to the grocery store. I have to pick up my kids. I wouldn't be home till 6:00. And if I only packed snacks or lunch, I would be hungry. And I knew for sure I'd stop by the gas station and I'd go eat Twix bars and I'd eat them really fast and tell myself it didn't happen. Because when we're tired, stressed, and hungry is when we crave things, right? So instead, like pack more. I always say, and I do this for my kids too, I always pack more than what I need or they need so that you never get in a situation where like, shoot, I'm hungry, I'm starving, like you have options available and you can just use it for tomorrow.
That's why I'm like when I meal prep or batch cook, like I always make sweet potato wedges, always, and I can throw them in whatever. I always have packs of olives in my purse. Like there's always options, and that is right. It's super important to stay on track that way.
It's so important, and it makes it easier. Like if you're gonna batch cook, it's so much easier to make 3 times what's necessary. It takes the same amount of time, maybe 4 minutes longer, depending, like maybe some extra cutting. I don't know, and then you just have it on hand. You don't have to make a million different meals. Like I can't go there. So I love that. Okay, so we have our day-to-day snacks kind of covered. What happens? Let's talk about dinners. Like, because now what happens? We get home at 6:00, right? We've been like running our kids around or working late. We get home at 6 again. Now we're tired, hungry, and stressed again. What are we gonna do? Order pizza, frozen pizza? Like, how do we make this happen?
Yeah, so I absolutely, it's a habit, it's a lifestyle that every weekend I'm not big into like weekend batch cooking because again, I don't want to spend my kitchen, or I don't want to spend 2 hours in my kitchen on a Sunday when I can be with my kids. So, but I meal plan. I plan out the days. I look in my refrigerator and say, what do I have? What can I use up? I plan meals around that. And then whatever I don't have, then I'll grocery shop that weekend. And for me, because it's been a lifestyle, I know what meals cook up really quick and easily. And a lot of those I put in that meal planner that you guys will be getting. But it's really about just the meal planning. Just plan ahead. And then you can come home. You actually know, you have in the back of your mind what you are going to make. You already have the stuff stocked in the fridge. And you can whip things up in 30 minutes or less all the time once you start getting into a habit of doing so. So the only thing I do on the weekends to help with the weekday meals is I do prep my veggies. I batch roast veggies like I'm a crazy person, because you can always add those to side. So if you're in a bind and you have nothing in your fridge, you can throw some chicken breast on the grill or whatever protein, and you already have vegetables. And it's kind of boring, but at least you're covered.
Yeah, that's really smart. I love that. And I love the idea of, thinking about also I guess I usually do it opposite. Well, okay, if it's something that takes a long time to cook, so roasted veggies, yams, like anything like that takes a long time, batch cook brown rice. That's not paleo, but if you have brown rice, like quinoa, whatever, right? And then sometimes I'll also batch my protein, thinking about like, okay, if I made a bunch of like grass-fed ground beef, I could put it in like a clean spaghetti. I could do like a taco salad. I could like, how can I use this in multiple ways, throwing in some raw vegetables or whatever else. So you guys are all going to get help with this at Chris's meal plan. It's like created so beautifully so that you can just, again, it's that streamline in the kitchen. It's being really simple about the foods that you're eating, and you save money, because this is another thing that comes up a lot is, oh my gosh, this way of eating is so expensive. And I always say like, it's expensive, especially when you're buying like the clean bars or like the packaged foods, the clean crackers. That is super expensive. And it's fun to do and it's handy to have sometimes. But when you can just take like a bunch of grass-fed beef and use it for different meals and make a stew and then use a bunch of different veggies and integrate it, right? Do you feel like, I feel like you end up saving a lot of money that way?
Yeah, I think so. And I think initially when you start, some of the basics,
coconut flour, almond flour, and
coconut oil and things like that can be more expensive, but then they last a long time. that initial investment it's really an investment that you stock your pantry up with the good stuff, you're done. Then really all you have to buy throughout the week is protein, vegetables. I mean, it's not, and you're not wasting food.
Yeah.
So really getting off of the prepackaged snack train, it does save a lot of money, and it becomes something where you are just being mindful of what you're eating. Your budget eventually, might be up here, but it evens out, and really you never look back. You'll never look back.
Yeah. I mean, it's like instead of paying for therapy or or having to go to the doctor so much, like all these things that we struggle mentally, emotionally, or physically, that just a lot of it gets taken care of by eating this way. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's medicine. Your food is your medicine.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about going out to eat. So whether this is you're in your hometown, you're going out to eat, having family night, or often people feel this is for work or they're meeting with family friends, the social pressure going out to eat of like eating a certain way or drinking certain drinks. Like, how do you maneuver around that? What are your tricks for going out to eat and staying healthy?
I'm glad you brought this up because I was just a week away from home. We were going out to eat for every meal. And it was actually the most simplistic it's ever been for me because I just go to restaurants. If we're at a sit down place, I just ask. You just ask the server. Yeah. Really, I say, can I get this grilled? Can I get this, the dressing on the side? Can I just get a balsamic instead of whatever they have? It's just asking for these little modifications, omitting the cheese off of something. It's actually easier than you may think. You don't have to look at the menu. These are the only choices you can ask, and 90% of the time they will deliver for you.
Yes.
So that's really what I'm doing in a sit-down place. As far as like fast, quick food, I don't want to say fast food, but there's just certain places that we go to. Chipotle is one of them because I know anytime you can build your own, go there. Really, I say anytime you can't. I try to stay away from, but typically you just need to know those basic foundations of what you eat and try to order based on that or ask, really.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was just at Chipotle this last week and it was like brown rice or white rice, veggies, clean protein, and they don't use canola oil. I'm trying to remember what oil they use. Bran rice oil, I think it is. Is that what it is? Bran rice or rice bran?
I don't know.
It's an oil that doesn't cause as much of an inflammatory response. It's way better than canola oil, which is what you find in most restaurants. And there's like they use their meat's free of antibiotics. Like they're really mindful for being a faster type food restaurant of what to eat. So it's great.
Yeah, and lately I've been little pro tip. I asked they have the half slices of lime in the back when people order the Coronas.
Oh, yeah?
I always ask for that because then instead of using the salad dressing, which I don't even prefer, I just throw the lime juice on top of it, of whatever I order, and it's awesome.
So good. Yeah. That's awesome. Or even just guacamole. That's what I did for my salad dressing. I'm like, just have some healthy guacamole on it and we're good. Yay, I love it. Love pro tips. And I wanted to add going out to eat. Another way that, which is very similar. Sometimes I'll go up to restaurants and just say, okay, I'm not even looking at the menu. What protein do you have that's not marinated and can be grilled without oil? And do you have some sort of veggies that can be steamed or cooked in extra virgin olive oil? Like let the chef, and you guys, I always say, if you remember when you were kids, do you remember grab bags?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's like a grab bag. It's so fun. So the waiter will be like, let me check, and go checks with the chef and comes back and is like, we can do these shrimps, or like, it's really fun that you get all these different options.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be stuck or married to a menu.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, so that's if we're going out to eat. Oh, what about the social pressure? Like, how do we navigate social pressures when we're at a party, Thanksgiving, the holidays are coming up, like when we're at a party or we're out to eat, that we feel like we should eat a certain way, or Aunt Mary made a key lime pie and really thinks I need to eat a piece even though I don't want it. Like, how do we navigate those?
I think that's tough. I think it depends on the situation too, but for me now, because I've been doing this for so long, I don't feel that way anymore. My family kind of knows, but it can be hard. If I go to my in-laws and they make something, typically I just will be very honest about something. If I know I'm going to consume it and I'm going to feel icky or I'm going to get sick, it is not worth it. And you have to stand up for what is best for you and your kids. I'll be really honest and say, I really appreciate the gesture. I don't feel great, or I break out from this, or my kids X, Y, and Z. I think just having an honest conversation and doing it from the heart, it doesn't offend anyone. It doesn't offend Aunt Helen's cooking. It just doesn't, it makes you feel ill or a certain way. I think this is especially hard. I get this question a lot with kids and like grandparents, like my parents or my in-laws want to give the kids ice cream every night. And so I just try to really set the foundation of it's okay to treat the kids, but can we treat them with experiences? Can we treat them with connection or time spent, not sweets? And just having those conversations, I think sets the groundwork for how you want to parent. You are in control of what you eat. You are in control of what your kids do. You are the parent. And so I know we don't want to offend, and we're in this society where like we're kind of tiptoeing around each other. But at the end of the day, it's on us, and we have to like stand up for what we need and what we want. And sometimes I'm just unapologetic about it because it's important to me. It's our priority. And what if it's a really big priority in your life, you have to set that groundwork.
Totally. It is, there's so much navigating to do, but the truth of it, like the simplicity, because that's what we're all about, right? Is like show gratitude. Like you said, like if someone was trying to honor you with something, like honor them back. You don't have to honor them back by eating, honor them back with your love, honor them back with your honesty, with your transparency. And I always say when we tell people we're doing a diet of some sort, like diets are made to be broken. They're made to fall off. We've all done a million diets a million times. And I think that insults people sometimes. And they're like, oh, you won't break your diet for me? But when we say we're doing this to feel better, and like you said, like I break out or I get a stomach pain or my hip hurts or my back hurts or like I feel really anxious. Like when I eat this way in a medical or, more of a health, like turn it into a health conversation rather than a diet conversation, people are so much more willing and actually really interested in what you have to say. Yeah. So that I think is really important. And Chrissa, what you said about just standing up for what is important to you, there's nothing more empowering, and there's no greater lesson to teach our kids. Like that's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Sometimes we just need to know what is best for our core. And I think as women, sometimes we apologize, we feel guilty, and I certainly do it, but I'm working on like what do I need? Like what is it that I need to stand up for? And sometimes we just need to. And that's okay. We're forgiven for doing that, and we don't have to feel bad about that.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so last big question about being on the go is traveling, right? You and I just got back from a bunch of traveling. So going out to eat, we covered that. But what about just like on the airport, if you're traveling in the car, like how do we find snacks? So there's like this whole like, okay, we can go out to eat for meals, but then how do you manage snacks? Which traveling I feel like is often like ice cream cones or like, like getting some M&Ms at like a store, like or Disneyland or whatever. Like how do we manage that piece of traveling?
I think really it's having the effort on the back end. So you really have to plan the snacks. I bring snacks everywhere I go. I bring snacks when I travel, because if you get into a situation where there aren't healthy options, you have them. And it's just the lifestyle that I pick. When I pack my suitcase, I also pack my snacks.
Yep.
So that you can set yourself up for grabbing something on the go. If there is absolutely no possibility of, packing a snack, or you're out of snacks, let's say, there are certain brands of bars. I choose Lara bars, are typically accessible. There's always fruit everywhere you go, right? So you can always go to a convenience store. There's always fruit. typically you can find like nut butter packets at places. Even some places have hard-boiled eggs that are in the refrigerator. So you can find options, but I think planning ahead a little bit and just having kind of a safety net is really, really key.
Makes it easy. Yeah. Having a Lara bar or an RX bar, there's a number of different bars that you can grab that are healthy, right? Just like I always have a couple in my bag. If the kids, I pick them up from ski practice and they're hungry, I'm like, perfect, I've got something for you. Or if I'm hungry, perfect, I've got something for me, right? I was just traveling back and I was in New York. I could not believe I actually did a Facebook Live in our Have It All group, but I had like 6 different bars, Chrissa, that were like all clean bars that had some random, it wasn't like a health food airport stop. It was like a random airport little convenience store. And I like left the place. I was getting all the bars because I wanted to do a Facebook Live and show everyone. And the people behind me were like, what is this lady doing? Bars. But I was so excited because I'm like, accessibility is happening more and more and more. And they had the Justin's almond butter. And so I got some almond butter and a banana because I was having a sweet tooth. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. Just put a little on the banana. It's like the yummiest, sweetest, amazing treat ever.
Yeah, there's always some sort of option. But planning ahead is good. And every time I go to the airport too, when I'm traveling, I will bring the fresh stuff. Is typically in my carry-on bag. I can put sweet potato wedges that I made the night before. They're cold. They last the entire flight. I'll put sliced peppers in there. I will bring my own hard-boiled eggs. I don't care if they smell.
Yeah, we do it too. Yeah.
I'll just shield myself as I'm.
Yeah.
But you can do that so that even hours and hours after your flight, typically they're still okay to eat. You don't need to ice them or anything. So at least you have that day down, and then you have your packaged snacks.
That's amazing. So really quickly, like can you go back to what was in your suitcase? Like what did you pack in your actual suitcase?
For my snacks?
Yeah. Like what are some examples of snacks that you would pack?
I think if I'm in my kitchen right now, I don't have the, but I at Trader Joe's, obviously I go there a lot because I have one by me, but they have olive packets. So I bring olives with me all the time.
Oh.
And trail mix, which is usually a combination of mixed nuts, and then I toast my own coconut flakes just for a few minutes in the oven, throw that in there. Nut butter packets I include. I will do like chomp sticks, or Paleo Valley has a meat stick that's really clean. Of course, the Lara bars, the RX bars. Trying to think what else I throw in there. I have a couple. Wild Way is a brand. They have a hot cereal that's basically flaxseed and cashews that are ground up. And so if I'm on the go at the airport and I need breakfast, I have these little packets. I ask Starbucks for hot water.
Yeah.
And then throw fruit on top because it's unsweetened. And it's like your own little oatmeal, except it's not oats. It's just like the grain, the nuts and the flaxseed and stuff. So
I've not heard of that one. That's exciting. I love this.
yeah. Those are clutch for on the go. So those are just some of the things that I bring in my bag typically when I'm traveling.
That's incredible. And even like, I'm thinking if you're a college student, if you're traveling for business, to have those Wild Ways like in your dorm, or if you are like traveling for business and instead of going downstairs and eating like the waffles that are made out of a spray can or, like what's in that like have that Wild Way hot cereal. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Even like Purely Elizabeth has a great oatmeal that's free, and they have little, packets. So all you need is hot water. It's a really good way to travel. You can even eat that throughout the day.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we have covered a lot, right? Talking about kids, how to first like adopt this way of eating for yourself, how to get your family on the train, the clean eating train, really looking at snacks when you're on the go, day-to-day living. And we've also talked about going out to eat. We've talked about traveling. We've talked about what else? So many different snacks that you can have on the airplane. Thank you so much. This is like pure gold and super helpful. And then also the streamlining in the kitchen, right? You guys, like how to make this way of eating super simple. And I love your idea so much of having multiple sauces. Like if you have the same sort of meats and veggies kind of already made, have the pesto sauce, have a ranch sauce, and you can spice things up and really have a separate meal all the time. I all the time at home, like our dinners is a vegetable, sometimes a fruit and a meat. Like that's almost always what our dinners are. And it's so easy when you think about protein, carb, and fat, rather than like, how do I create a recipe? Like, I don't even really, I have recipes because people want recipes, but I don't even really do recipes. Like I just do like protein, carb, and fat.
and then whatever sauces you add on top of it,
Totally.
or just extra. Little other thing I just thought of too. I will batch cook huge pots of onions. So I'll caramelize those in balsamic. So I have this huge sack of caramelized onions.
Ooh.
In the freezer. So that when you're making burgers, when you're doing chicken, when you're doing whatever, you just take the mason jar of the caramelized onions, let it thaw. You're good. You throw those in quiches and everything. That's another thing that I do that's super easy that amps up the flavor of any meal.
Oh my gosh, and save so much time.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and like, ooh, that is a pro tip. Thank you. Love it. You guys, this is amazing. I'm so excited.
Hack your way through the kitchen. It's all it takes.
Yes, totally. So good. Okay, so as we wrap this up, I want to ask you, Chrissa, is there anything else, because I've been kind of driving these questions, is there anything else that you're like, ooh, your tribe totally would want to know this in terms of just making this way of eating easy? And then I do actually also want to touch on exercise. Like, where can they learn more about exercise? Like, tell us where to go to get more information from you on that.
Sure. So one thing that a lot of people ask me in my tribe is, how do you do it? What can I don't have time. Time's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And so every night, I'm not kidding you guys, I take 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. I either plan the meal, then the day after I plan my lunch or whatever, or I will do just one element. So that might mean chopping up the carrots for dinner tomorrow. That might mean prearranging all the dried spices so I can throw them. That might mean batch cooking, roasting some broccoli.
Yeah.
It just takes 15 minutes. I put the kids to bed. I throw the stuff in the oven if I'm cooking something, or I'll chop it up. I get in the shower while it's cooking or whatever. So you don't have to be in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking small little elements to set yourself up for success the next day is key. And it just takes that 10 to 15 minutes. And I do it every night, even if I'm tired. But the next day, I'm so glad I did.
That is such a good tip. And I've never thought of doing that. I love it. I'm going to have to give it a shot.
Yeah. It's just a nice habit for me.
So simple.
It makes life a lot easier.
And it's that consistency, right? Like I know our friend Ryan Lee, who's coming on to speak on Thursday, and his bars are called the Rewind bars. And his philosophy is like, if you start the day off right, like get your morning off to the right start, then it's so easy to make good choices. It's this consistency idea, right? So if you do this one thing at night and like chop your carrots for tomorrow or roast your broccoli or whatever it may be, right? Like that little piece of consistency keeps you in a routine, and that actually helps you guys to commit to your lifestyle. It helps to keep you accountable. It's not just about prepping. There's like so many other components that are associated with that support you in this as a lifestyle.
Right. And it doesn't give us the excuse that so many of us fall back on. And we don't even try to do that, but we, the time thing, or, I'm a busy mom, or there are these excuses that we make up in our heads and we fall back on whether we know it or not. And they're not excuses. They're just roadblocks that we create in our own mind. Yeah. And they don't have to be that way. You just make a choice to keep habits going, and it will become a part of your lifestyle.
And really, like, going back to our simplicity theme is, if you are experiencing that, if you are like, I really want to eat this way, but it's too hard time-wise or too expensive or whatever it may be, whatever roadblock showing up in your life, what I like to coach people around is think about like, okay, you have two options. You can make a change or not. It's so simple. We make it so complicated. You can keep doing what you're doing and you'll keep feeling the same way. And if that's okay with you, like, that's okay with me, right? Like, you need to be in alignment with yourself. So if you feel good and that's where you want to be, amazing. But if you're like, I want to feel different, but I want to keep doing the same thing, that will never happen. And that will cause immense stress in our lives. That will make us feel overwhelmed. That will make us feel deprived. That will make us feel anxious. So choose one little thing chop the carrots at night, right? Or just like Chrissa said when she first started this, she's like, I'm just going to take out gluten, then grains, then dairy, then processed sugar, like one thing at a time. Drink your water, whatever it may be. Start there, because then you're making a consistent shift, and not feeling good is going to line up with what you're doing to shift for the best.
Yep. Just execute. Just do. Don't think it over. Don't create the craziness in your head. Just do.
Yeah, I love it.
Pivoting to what we were going to talk about, that same with fitness and exercise.
Yes.
So many people get, it's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to stick with it. And for me too, when I feel that like the creeping in, like I don't want to work out, or I'm tired, or I shut it off and you just get up and do. And that's the best way I can describe it. There were so many times throughout this last year when my husband was gone with the kids, I'm like exhausted. But I always felt like when I got that workout in, when I moved my body, I felt more energetic. My mental state was better. I just felt like a better mom and a better version of myself. And so I didn't overthink it. I just executed. And usually that 5 minutes of movement led to 10 minutes, led to 15 minutes. And it's just, it's amazing how it can just make you feel so much better internally and externally.
Yeah, that's incredible. The Nike saying, just do it.
Yeah, right? That's true.
There's a reason that's still their saying. Yeah. So I feel like there's two different types of people, and maybe three different types of people in the exercise world. There's like the super athletes, like people who this is like their career, or this is like a big part of their life. There's people who are like, I do it because I'm supposed to, like, so I exercise 3 times a week, or like whatever, follow some sort of guidelines. And then there's people who are like, I want to, but I don't. So I would say that most of the people that work with me fall in either the I want to, but I don't, or I do it sometimes because I'm supposed to, but it's not super enjoyable. Like, how would you address those two people, those two different categories, and where would you have them start with what you can offer? Or anyone, but I know this is like something you do.
So what I tell people is to identify the slots in your day. Like, identify where there's openness. And if you say I don't have any time, then you need to journal how your day looks, because there's a lot of wasted time in the day that we don't even realize. So really finding like even a 10 to 15 minute slot again, where you can move. And that's where it starts. It's just movement. It doesn't have to be going to the gym and burning yourself out on a treadmill. It's putting on 3 of your favorite songs and dancing around the kitchen like a crazy person.
My favorite thing to do.
You're just moving. You're burning calories. You're having fun. Your kids think you're fun. You're a crazy person. But it's just that movement and getting in a habit of creating some sort of movement, going for a walk, dancing, right? You know, going up your stairs to the laundry thing 3 times versus 1 time. Just those little tiny shifts of like, how can I like move my body in the most optimal way, doing what I normally do in my everyday life. Yeah. And then set yourself up for, okay, what can I do now? I have 20 minutes. How can I keep moving? And then if going to the gym and stuff is something that is a priority and it helps you excel, then do that. If it's doing more things at home, if it's incorporating your kids in your workouts, it's doing that. And finding someone who can support you in that, and finding someone who understands what your life is like, I think is really key. And I'm not trying to tout what I do, but I would never work with a trainer who is a 23-year-old guy who doesn't understand the struggles that I deal with. You know, if he's telling me get up at 5 a.m. every morning and my kids are up at 5:15, and you know what I mean? You have to find someone that's alignment with you. Whether that's someone like me with an online program, whether that's a trainer at the gym, whether it's a friend that can be your accountability buddy. Find that support, because that'll be really key. Yeah. That's amazing. That's so good. And like I said, you guys, Chrissa does have, so tell us, where do we find, because don't you have a YouTube? I have a membership site. It's called Club Kitcheness.
For the exercise videos. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I've seen some of these before. And they're really fun, short, and accessible in the home. Yes. Videos of like how to exercise in the home, that's something I love having kids. It's like, I work from home, I have my kids at home, something where you really can, if you have 15 minutes, not including driving to the gym, like if you're like, I have 15 minutes, let's do this. You can do it. That's why I created it, really, is because I wanted to give people quick and effective workouts. So they're either 10, 15, under 10 minutes, under 20 minutes, under
30 minutes is the workout. They're no longer than that because I don't feel like you have to get a great workout in. You doesn't mean you need to spend 60 minutes doing it. So yeah, the membership site has all of my workout videos. But you know, there's tons of resources for people if you want to make it a priority.
That's incredible. So tell people, how can they find you more? And I know obviously they're going to have your meal plan, and everyone has already been sharing, like someone said, what's Chrissa's website? And someone like posted it, like people are already there, but tell us a little bit more. Where can we find you? How can we learn more about you?
Sure. So you can go to Physical Kitcheness. Kitcheness is spelled mom brain, KITCHNESS, physicalkitcheness.com, where all my recipes are on there. I have some workouts on there that are just step-by-steps. And then in that website, you can find my Club Kitcheness group. You can click on that link. I have an Instantly Paleo ebook with recipes on there. So you can find all the resources basically on my website.
So cool. And the Instantly Paleo, so you also have an Insta Pot. Are you still doing the Insta Pot?
Yeah, so that's the Instantly Paleo is the Instant Pot.
Oh, the Instantly Paleo. Okay. I couldn't remember the name, but I bought it and I got an Insta Pot inspired by Chrissa. And you guys, this is a way to make things super, super, like you can cook meat so fast. You can cook so many things so fast. I'm still experimenting with mine, but it's really fun to have.
The hang of it is a game changer. It's so
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So cool. Thank you for your time. I'm so excited. I know everyone is super excited to watch this recording. So thank you. And
planner is immensely helpful for everyone and makes life a little easier.
Incredible. This was so much gold. So grateful. Love seeing you. Mwah. Have a beautiful day. Have fun with your hubby and your kids.
Thanks.
All right, sweetie. Take care. Bye-bye.